Hello students, welcome to this session. I just solved this JEE Main Test 81 and here I am with the analysis of this paper. As per me, 5 questions can be regarded as very easy, 18 were medium, some you will find easy, some you will find tough if the medium category, and 2 questions I have regarded as tough and 21 is a pick off question. I have the very beautifully asked question. So paper is neither easy nor difficult. You can say it's a perfect JEE Main type paper, so I can say anyone decent enough should get 55 and students aspiring for good ranks in advance should get 75 to 80 marks in this paper. But it's overall it's a very nicely balanced paper. It is neither easy nor very tough. So first question, an unbanked circular highway curve on level ground makes a turn of 90 degrees. Highway has a traffic at 108 km per hour. If I convert it 108, I know this is 30 meter per second, and the centripetal force on the vehicle is not to exceed 1/10 of its weight. That means the value of the mu is equal to 1 by 10. What is the approximate minimum length of the curve in kilometers? So what we have, the centripetal force or acceleration would be mu sg. At max that should be equal to v square by r. So in limiting case, the radius required is v square upon mu sg. That is 30 into 30 upon mu sg. Mu sg is what you have, 1 by 10 into 10. That would be equal to 1. So that r is equal to 900 meters. So r is equals to 900 meters. Therefore, length, 90 degree curve length would be equals to pi r by 2. That is pi by 2 into, let's say, call it 0.9 kilometers. So what we have, pi by 2 is 3.14 by 2 into 0.9. So what you get, this is 1.57 into 0.9. That is 9 sevens are 363. Sorry, 3 6 9 5s are 45 and 651. 9 1s are 9 and 114. So it is 1.413 kilometers. So go. Now first, second. Transformer has efficiency 80%, works at 4 kilowatt 100 volt. Secondary is 200 voltage and the primary and secondary currents are. So what we have, it is working at 80% voltage. First of all, power is 4 kilowatt fed to it. So that is basically what you can say, P of primary, that is 4 into 10 to the power 3 would be equal to 100 into IP, because that is Vp is given. So IP comes out as 40 ampere. So primary current is 40 amperes. Now for secondary, what you will have because 80%, so 0.8 into 4 into 10 to the power 3, that would be 200 into Is. So Is comes out as 4 into 0.8 is 3.2, that is 3200 upon 200. So what you will be left with, 32 by 2 is 16 ampere. So 40 ampere and 16 ampere, these are the options. I'll go to select option A next. A length of rod of length L is placed along x-axis, one of the end at the origin. The rod has a non-uniform charge density A by x, A being a positive constant. The electric potential at the point P, that is the origin, as shown would be. So here the standard way, go at a distance x, take a small element of length dx. Charge on this dq would be, let's say, lambda dx, that is A by x dx. So the potential due to this at P would be, sorry, it is what we are talking about. Yes, it is not gravitation, it is charge. So k dq by x. Okay, so k A by x square, let me write it proper, k A by x square dx. This is the potential due to single element, so the due to all would be integral tv, that is k A upon x square dx, and the limit will go from b to b plus l. The closest end at b and it is b plus l. So kq common, 1 upon x square is minus 1 by x, so minus 1 upon b plus l, minus will become plus. So it becomes k, I write it as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q, that would be l upon b into b plus l. That is what we will have, l upon b plus l. So what we are left with, b upon b plus l, so it would be option A again. Next. The retardation experienced by a moving motorboat after its engine is cut off is given by this. K is a constant, V0 is the magnitude of velocity at cut off, the magnitude of velocity at time t would be. So what we can directly say, dv upon v cube is minus k dt. Take the limit from 0 to t, take the limit v0 to v. So 1 by v cube is what you will have, v to the power minus 3, so v to the power minus 2 upon minus 2, that is minus 1 upon 2v square, plus will become 1 upon 2 v0 square, that is equal to minus kt here. So what we are left with, 1 upon 2v square is equal to 1 upon 2v0 square plus kt. So 2v square comes out as 2v0 square upon 1 plus 2 v naught square kt. This 2 go to scan, so v would be equal to v naught upon under root of 1 plus 2 v naught square kt. So going by this, it would be option D in this particular case. Next, a satellite is revolving around a planet of mass m in an elliptical orbit of semi-major axis A. Find the orbital speed of the satellite when it is at a distance r from the focus. So what we can say, total energy is minus gmm by 2a unit, where small m is the mass of the satellite. Now at a distance r, u would be minus gmm by r. So using the law, k plus u is always e, which is fixed. So half mv square minus gmm by r is equal to minus gmm by 2a. This m goes, so v square by 2 comes out as gm 1 by r minus 1 upon 2a. So v square comes out as, if you solve it, 2 gm 1 upon r minus 1 upon 2a. Going by the options, it would be option A. You can directly option A. Yes, option A is the option that we will go for. Next, two spheres 8 and 2 centimeter radius are cooling. Their temperatures are this. The ratio of the energy radiated by the same amount of time. So that energy in per unit time is what you say, sigma EA t to the power 4. That is what you write it, t to the power 4 minus ts to the power 4. Generally here only the rate of cooling, or what you can say only the rate of emission, we will take it h out only this. So sigma and E are same, so it is 8 to the power 4, that is proportional to r square t to the power 4. So h1 by h2 would be, that would be 8 by 2 whole square. 127 is 400 and 527 is 800 to the power 4. So it is 4 square, it is 1 upon 2 to the power 4. That means this is 1:1. So option would be C here. Next, car goes with a speed of 40 kmph along a straight line 30 degree north of east, and another B is moving with same speed along a line 30 degrees south of east. So let me draw it like this. This is east, north, west, south. Let it be plus x axis, let it be plus y axis. Now the first car is 30 degree north of east, let's say like this. This is VA. VB is with 30 degrees south of east, so it goes like this, VB. Okay, both speeds are same. So relative velocity of A is absorbed by B. So first of all, what is VA? VA, if I write it and I and J, breaking it, it would be 40 cos 30 I cap plus 40 sin 30 J cap. And of B would be 40 cos 30 I cap minus 40 sin 30 J cap. So if V of A with respect to B would be VA minus VB, you know, if you subtract it, it comes out as 80 sin 30 J cap, that means north, and sin 30 is half, that is 40 km per hour, and it would be J means north. So we'll go for option C here. So velocity of A is absorbed by B would be like this. Next, there is a cylindrical bottle of negligible mass and radius 2.5 centimeter floating in the water of density this, filled with 310 ml of water inside it. Now the bottle is slightly dipped into water and released. The frequency of oscillation will be, okay. So initially it was, now initially let's say mg would be equal to, it is floating in equilibrium, rho of water into area into, let's say, height y0 into g. Y0 is the equilibrium depth it submerges. Now if you pull it y, the additional force that you will have, because these will be balanced, it will become y0 plus y. The additional force I can write as a yg, and acceleration I can write as minus rho w a g upon m into y, that is proportional. So omega directly you can make out now. This is SHM, this is rho w a g by m. So frequency is 1 upon 2 pi root of rho w a g by m, and the m you directly know that m is basically the mass of the water contained, that you can cite as rho w into v contained. So what you are left with, 1 upon 2 pi, area was pi r square g upon v. So put it pi r square. So r square is 2.5 centimeter square, that comes out as 6.25 into 10 to the power minus 4. G is 10 and volume is 310 ml. ml is 10 to the power minus 6 meter cube. I can convert. So if you do this, this is what we will get now. Just simplify 1 upon 2 pi. This would be pi into, this is what you can write, 10 to the power minus 4. This will become 10 to the power 2, 10 to the power, and this 10 goes, this is 10 to the power 2 upon 6.25 into divided by 31. So that is what you are getting, and it's what you can do, this is 625, and this would be, I can say, like it would be 10, or what you can say it is 625. So 25 I can take out, so 25 upon 2 pi, and what we are left with, pi upon 31. So pi upon 31 is roughly 1 by 10. So I can roughly go for it, it is 1 by 10, so it is 10 is roughly pi square, so pi will come out, so 25 upon 2 pi square, pi again taking as 10, it will come out as 1.25 per second approximately as per this data. Next, the magnetic field associated with a light wave is given at origin by this. Okay, and this is the expression. If the light falls on a silver plate having a work function, this, what would be the max? So this is omega 1, this is omega 2, this is the bigger one. So F max is the bigger one, that would be 6.28 is 2 pi into 10 to the power 7 into C divided by 2 pi, omega by 2 pi. So it comes out as 3 in 10 to the power 15 hertz. So the energy would be h nu you can write as 4.14 into 10 to the power minus 15 in EV unit into what we have, this is multiplied by 3 into 10 to the power 15, this is 3 into 10 to the power 15, and that is what we have divided, this is the value 4.14 into 3, that is 3 4s are 12, this is 4, and this is 12.42 EV, and work function is 4.7, so K max is 12.42 minus 4.7, so it comes out as 2, 14 and 7 7, and we have 11 and 4 7, so it is 7.72 EV. So I'll go for option. Now the next one, question number 10. You have a water drop divided into 8 equal droplets, and the pressure difference between the inner and outside side of the bigger drop is. So for the bigger drop, we had that delta P is equal to 2s by r. When it is divided into 8 drops, you directly know the radius of the smaller one will become, because it is 8 drops, it will become r by 2, because what you will have, 4 by 3 pi r cube would be equal to 8 times 4 by 3 pi of small r cube. So r cube would be 8 r cube. So directly result, you remember r would be r by 2. So the new pressure difference delta P dash would be 2s by small r, that would become 4s by r. So it would be twice of delta P. So in the smaller one, that would be more. So the pressure difference between the inner and outer side of the bigger drop will be half that of the smaller drop. Next, thin plano-convex lens acts like a concave mirror of focal length 0.2 meters when silvered on its plane surface. If the refractive index is 1.5, the radius of curvature of the convex surfaces. So plano-convex lens is like this, and it is silvered like here. So here 1 upon f equivalent mirror would be equal to 1 upon f of mirror minus 2 upon f of lens, and mirror is plane, so it would be infinite, so it's 0, and 2 by fl. So minus 2 by fl, so it is acting as a concave mirror. So it is what we are basically having it like concave mirror of focal length. So it would be minus 1 upon 0.2 is minus 2 upon f of l. So f of l comes out as 0.4. So it is 0.4 meters. So we know 1 upon 0.4 would be equal to n minus 1, 1.5 minus 1 into 1 by r minus 1 upon infinity. So what you have, 1 upon 2r, that is 1 upon 0.4. So r comes out as what you will have, 0.4 upon 2, that is 0.2 meters. So radius is going to be 0.2 meters for this particular case. Next, consider a uniform disk in the xy plane free to rotate about an axis parallel to z-axis as shown. A force of 4 Newton applied at 4,3 along y-axis as shown produces an angular acceleration of 2 per second square. Locate the cm of the disk if the mass of the disk is 2 kg. Okay, we have to find the cm of the disk if the mass of the disk is 2 kg. So first of all, the torque produced by this force is about that axis is 4 into what we have, are we given the radius? Force applied along the x-axis produces an angular acceleration of 2. Locate the center of mass of the disk if the mass of the disk is 2 kg. Okay, so what we know, this torque would be 4 into, let's say, what would be the radius r, let me calculate it, that would be equal to I alpha, and I, what we can write is mr square by 2. So 2 into r square by 2 into alpha, that is 2, and what we have uniform disk, so whatever be the radius mr square by 2 I can write, that is 4r. So this goes, so what we have, r here comes out as, from this comes out as 2 meter. So radius is 2 meter, that means this gap is 2. So what this center coordinate would be 2,3 for sure. So the cm would be at that point, that is 2,3. So you can go for it. Next, working transistor with its 3 legs PQR tested by a multimeter. No conduction is found between P and Q. Okay, by connecting the common negative to R and other to P or Q, some resistance is seen in the multimeter. Which of the following is true? So first of all, this R is base for sure. You can make P and Q no conduction because they were of same type, and for R and P and Q you are having some conduction, so it would be definitely going to be base. Now conduction is seen here. Which of the following is true? So R is base, so we are left with only one option. We can go for A. This is only with R as base, that is the only thing we can go for it. So R will be the base. So going by this, we will be going by only as R as base. Next, consider a brass rod and a steel rod 80 centimeter longer at 0 degree. It is observed that increasing the same amount difference in length of the rod doesn't change. That means delta L of brass is equal to delta L of steel, which implies length of brass into alpha of brass into delta T is length of steel into alpha of steel into delta T. So what do you have now? So what we have LB upon L steel is alpha steel upon alpha brass, that is 11 by 19. This is the first equation. Also the difference of the two, steel one is longer, minus L of brass is equal to what you are given, 80 centimeters, so that is 80. This is the second equation. So what I can go for, I can directly go for L steel. I can write as 19 by 11 of length of brass minus length of brass is 80. So length of brass here comes out 19 minus 11, that is 8. So that is 80 into 11 by 8, that comes out as 110. So that is 110 centimeters if I am done it right. 80 into 11, 19 minus 11, that is 8, that is 110 centimeter. And length of steel, if we do this, length of steel what we have is 110 plus 80, that would be 190 centimeters. So if I add them both, it would be 3 meters. So the option C is going to be the appropriate one in this particular case. Next, the dimension of B square by 2 mu naught, then the is, so this is energy density. You know energy density is ml2 t minus 2, density is L to the power 3 divided by volume, so ml minus 1 t minus 2, sorry, energy ml minus 1 t minus 2, go for option D. Next, when light is reflected at normal incidence from a soap film as a minima at this, maxima at this in the visible region without minimum in between, if mu is 5 by 3 for the film, the thickness of the film is okay. Now for soap film, you know, one goes from here, one goes from here, so the extra difference it travels is 2 nt, or mu t. What should I write? 2 mu t, that is 2 into 5 by 3 into t, that is the part difference. Now this is minima for this. Minima, because of this phase change here, it would be some, let's say, m times of lambda for this, 6500. Okay, and the next is minima, no minima in between, and the directly maxima comes when this 2 into 5 by 3 into t, that would be holding, if it is now a bigger one, 7500, so it would be lesser one. So if it is some, let's say, it was coming out as 5 lambda, so that should be coming out as 4.5 lambda, so I can write it as m minus half times this thing, that then only it can satisfy. So what you can do now, so equate them. So m into 65 would be equal to m minus 1 by 2 into 75. So what you are left with, 2m upon 2m minus 1, you can say, is 15 by 13. So what we have, this is 26m is equal to 30m minus 15. So what we are left with, 4m equal to 15, so m is equal to 15 by 4. So the value of m comes out as 15 by 4 in this particular case. So m is 15 by 4 here. So m is 15 by 4. So what is the thickness? The value of the thickness, and that I can come out is, the thickness will be, as per this, will be 2 into 5 by 3 into t is 15 by 4 into 6500. That is what we are having. So if it is having like this, so t would be 15 by 4 into 6500 into 3, it would be in angstrom. Just remember, divided by 2 into 5, that is 10. And this is what we are left with. If we solve it, 15 3s are 45 into 650 by 4 into 10 to the power minus 10. So let me do it like 45 into 0.65 I can write upon 4 into 10 to the power minus 7. This would be 11.25, and 11 into 6 would be 66, 70 something. So it would be 7.4 into 10 to the power minus 7 meters I can go for. So it would be like this only. Next, a tuning fork vibrates with a frequency of 256 hertz. Okay, Taking the speed of sound to be this in the air, find the wavelength and the distance which the sound travels during the time Fock makes 60 vibrations. So what it makes 60 vibrations, because it has a frequency of 256 hertz. So first of all, wavelength I can calculate as V by F, that is 345.6 upon 256, and if you solve it, let me solve it somewhat, okay, you have to check it. So it would be 1 and 256, 345.6, I will be left with 99.4, so 994, it would be, it won't be 4, it would be 3, so 1.3 something, so it would be 1.35 meter. I'll go for lambda. So from here only one option is traveling, but find the distance it travels. So distance it travels would be how much time it will take, because it makes 60 vibrations, so it would be 60 into 1.35, because in one vibration it goes 1.35. so 6 5s are 30, 6 3s are what you have 18, and 3 1 2, this is 81.0 meters, so it go for first option. Next one, your block of 2 kg semicircular track, radius 1.1 meter, rests on a horizontal frictionless surface cylinder of radii 10 cm, mass 1 kg, released from rest from the top point A. The cylinder slips on the semicircular track. The speed of the block when the cylinder reaches the bottom. So when it reaches bottom, because you know there is no horizontal force on this combined system, so what we can say, if it has a velocity v1, it will have velocity v2, and what we will have, m into v1 would be equals to m into v2. So 2 into v2, and this mass is what, 1, so it is 1 into v1. So 1 into v1 is 2 into v2, so v1 is equal to twice of v2. This is the first thing. And the gain in kinetic energy, half into 1 into v1 square plus half into 2 into v2. v2 would be, you can say, v1 by 2 whole square, would be equal to the loss in potential energy, which I can say, if I take the center's displacement, it would be not 1.1, it would be 1.1 minus 0.1, that is mgh, that is 1 into 10 into 1 meter fall. So what we are left with, v1 square by 2 plus v1 square by 4 equals 10. Okay, so 3 v1 square by 4 equals to 10. So v1 square is 40 by 3, so v1 comes out as root of 40 by 3. So v1 is root of 40 by 3 meter per second. No option is seen. Let me check it. Okay, you have to find the speed of the block. Okay, so speed of the block is half of this, so the speed of the block is half, that is root of 40 by 3, so it comes out as 4 will come 10 by 3. Okay, so answer is A, because we are asked for the block speeds, so it is root of 10 by 3. Next, two ideal Carnot engines operate in cascade, that means in series. Heat given up by one is used by other to produce between temperature T1 and T2. This is a question that is being asked it 1 or 2 times in the JEE main previously. Temperature of the hot of the first is T1 and of the cold of the second is T2. Temperature of the sink of first engine, which is also the source, be T. How is T related to T1 and T2 if both performs equal work? So if both performs equal work, just remember, if both performs equal work, we can directly say T is equal to T1 plus T2 by 2. Just remember this result, if both performs equal. Now to understand it, let's assume the first one gets heat Q1, releases heat Q, this takes Q and releases Q2. So W1 would be what you can say Q1 minus Q, W2 would be equals to Q2 minus Q minus Q2. So what we have, W1 is equal to W2, that means Q1 minus Q is Q minus Q2. So Q1 plus Q2 is equals to twice of Q, and here what you can write, this Q1 by Q was equal to T1 by T, and here Q by Q2 will be equal to T by T2. So what we can say, this Q would be directly proportional to the temperature, so directly T1 plus T2 would be equals to twice of T, so T is T1 plus T2 by 2. And if both have the same efficiency, then this result would have come. You can verify yourself if both have same frequency. So these are the efficiency, so remember these two formulas. Next, you have a wire carrying current I placed symmetrically and parallel to a long conducting sheet having a current per unit width J0 and width D as shown in the figure. The force per unit length on the conducting wire will be, okay, so this is a nice one. Parallel to a long conducting sheet having a current per unit width J0 and the width D. So it is long but width is limited. So what would be the force per unit length? So what we can do here, just imagine it, let's say I am viewing from this side. So I will see this current going in like this current of the sheet is going in like this. This is the length D, width D, and length is infinite, and the wire that I am seeing is going like this, and this is also taking current like this. So to get it, let's go at a distance. Let's say what I can say, this is x. Go at x, take dx. Go at x here, take dx. Symmetrically, you see both are in the same direction, so both are going to, what we can say, attract each other. So this force is F, this force is F, df I can write. So I can directly make out the component. This one will only add up. So what we have to do, we can directly say the force that we will have is 2df, what we can say 2df cos of theta, that would be the net force. So we have to integrate this thing. Now 2df is what we can write, mu naught per unit length. Per unit length we are taking, so this is per unit length by default I am taking. So mu naught I1 I2, first one is I, the second one will have, that is j naught into dx, that is you will have upon what you have, you write it as what we write, mu naught I1 I2 upon, because it is an infinite wire, it would be mu naught I1 I2 upon 2 pi d. That is the result that you typically use. So that would be equals to, what I can write, 2 pi, and the distance would be x, what we can say, x square plus h square under root. That is what we will have. And this is sine theta. And what is sine theta? Sine theta, if you make out, would be d upon under root of x square plus h square. So what we will have, this integration, what we will have, you will have this 2 goes, and what you will have, mu naught I j naught d upon pi, it would be dx upon x square plus h square, and that is the limit. The limit you will go from, you can say, from 0 to d by 2, because we have doubled it, so it would be 0 to d by 2. And if you solve it, it is d or h. Sine theta I have written, cos theta I have to written, sorry, I have written sine theta. So the cos theta was h by this, so this is not d, this is h. Okay, so just looking at the option I can make it out. So what we are getting here now, dx upon under root of x square plus h square, you know this integration, you all are maths students, so you know this is a standard result. It would be 1 by h tan inverse of x by h, limit from 0 to d by 2. So for 0 it would be 0, so for d by 2 you will have it. So it is mu naught I j naught h upon pi, and it will come out as 1 by h goes, so this h will cancel out, and this would be tan inverse of what you will have, this would be d by 2h, and direction you can directly make out, it is minus k cap. So as per the option it is coming out as k. So it is a very nicely designed question. Next, 21st. So these were the straight objectives. Now the subjective ones. Small spherical ball which obeys Stokes' law is thrown up vertically with speed 20 and is received back at the point with 10. Neglecting buoyant force, assuming the speed of the ball during its flight to be never equal to its terminal speed, and taking the acceleration due to gravity as 10, find the time of flight. Okay, so the speed of the ball during its flight to be never equal to the terminal speed, so it is going to be a tricky one for you. So what we can have, so it would be nice one, what you will have, when it was going up, let's say velocity was v, so we have this mg acting here and that viscous force also acting here, that is 6 pi r neta v. So while going up, what we can do, the integration will be, or in the terms of velocity I can write it as acceleration is m dv by dt, that would be equal to vector mg plus vector 6 pi r neta v. We can write it as 6 pi r neta v, and that is what kv you can write 6 pi r neta, because all are constant, let's say some constant k times v. This is the thing we can do. Now doing this integration for all, what we can write, m dv both sides if we do, that would be equal to mg plus kv dt. So integrating all, so the velocity will be, initial you are given as what you are given. If I take upward direction as let's say we can take it as positive, so it would be 10, or let's say simply write as v and u, that will suffice, u to v. This mg dt, this will be from 0 to time t, kv dt from 0 to time, what we can say again, t. This will be from 0 to t. Now this v dt integration, k, if I take v dt integration, gives you the displacement, and for the complete time this velocity vector integration will give you 0. Speed integration won't give you 0, but velocity integration will give you 0, so you can cancel it. So this would be reduced, so it would be m vector v minus vector u is equal to mg vector into time t. So time t would be m vector v minus vector u upon m times vector g. So effectively you can see the effective what we can have. So v, we can say If I take downward as negative, it would be minus 10, minus initial was plus 20, and it was g is minus 10, so it would be 3 seconds. So we can have the value as 3 seconds. So it's a very nice question, very nicely designed one, and solve it like this. Next, 22. A radioactive sample contains two different types of nuclei, A with half-life 5 days, B with half-life 30 days. Initially, the decay rate of A-type nuclei is 64 times that of B-type nuclei. The decay rate will be equal when time is 9 and days. What is the value of n? So initially what we have, the decay rate of A is 64. That means lambda of A into Na naught would be equal to 64 times lambda B. So let this activity of B be written as, let's say, R naught. So it would be 64 R naught. So it decrease at time would be 64 R naught e to the power minus lambda t, or you could write it in the terms of t half. That is also the way you write, upon 2 to the power t upon 5 days. And this should finally be equals to R naught upon 2 to the power t by 30. That is what you get. So what you have now, 2 to the power t by 30 minus 2 to the power, or you can do the reverse way, that would be more fruitful. So 64 would be 2 to the power t by 5 minus t to the t by 30. So 64 is what you have, 2 to the power 6, that is 2 to the power t, 1 by 5 minus 1 by 30. So comparing it, 6 is equal to t, LCM would be 30, it would be 5. So t comes out as directly 6 6 are 36. So that n is would be equal to 4. So you can directly say this would be 4. That's an easy one if you can simplify it. Next, in the Coolidge tube, that is X-ray production experiment, applied voltage increased to 3 times the short wavelength limit shifts by 20 picometer. What is the initial voltage applied? So you know that lambda min is equal to Hc by Ev. So if you do this triple, lambda will become 1/3. So initial was lambda naught, final was lambda naught by 3, and this shift is given as 20 picometer. You can directly say. So what you have, 2 lambda naught by 3 is equal to 20 picometers. So lambda naught comes out as what you can say 60 by 2, or you can write 30 picometers. So lambda naught is 30 picometers. So what you have, 30 pico you can write as 10 to the power minus 3 nanometers would be equal to 1240 ev nanometer upon ev naught. That is the initial voltage. So this ee goes, nano goes, so that v naught will come out as 1240 upon 30 into 10 to the power 3. So you have to apply it in kilovolts. So that is 3 upon 124. That is what you are left with. To the nearest integer you need to find out. This is 41 point something into 10 to the power 3 volts. So it is 41 would be the nearest answer. Next, projectile fired with a speed of 2 at an angle 60. At top it explodes into 3 fragments of same mass. First retraces path, second moves vertically upward with speed 3 v naught by 2. What is the speed of the third one? So apply momentum conservation before braking. The velocity of complete mass m was v naught cos 60, which is you can say as 1 meter per second. Now after braking, one retraces, that means it goes with 1 meter per second. This is m by 3. One goes with, and this m by 3 with 3 v naught by 2, that is it would be 3 meter per second. So where will be the third one going? Definitely it would be going like this. Let's say call it v3 of this, again m by 3. So what I can say, momentum conservation. So it will have two components, one along y and one along x. So its y component p3y will balance out this, that is 1 into m by 3. Y component will balance out the above one, which would be m by 3 into 3 meter per second. So that would be m vy. I can say m by 3 vy is m by 3 into 3. So that vy is equal to 3 meter per second. And similarly for the x1, what we can have, p3x minus this m by 3 into 1 meter per second would be equal to complete mass m into 1. So m by 3 into vx minus 1 would be m. So vx minus 1 is 3, so vx has to be 4. So vx has to be 4. So this is 4 and 3, so its speed would be 5 meter per second. So answer would be 5 in this particular case. So you just have to balance the momentum, x and y you have to do. This will come out as 5, that is coming out. Next, last one. You have an uncharged capacitance of 4 microfarad, resistance 2.5 mega ohms connected to 12 volt battery in series. Find the time after which the potential difference across the capacitor is 3 times the potential difference across the resistor. So what you have now, 3 times across the resistor, that I can directly say Vc would be 9 volts and V of R would be equal to 3 volts, you can directly say. So for this particular circuit, what we typically write, this is basically the charging process that we write. we write Q1 capacitance is equal to Q naught 1 minus e to the power minus t by tau. That is what we generally write. At t equal to infinity, this Q becomes Q naught. That is what you write. So it is 3/4, the 9 volt becomes, that means 3/4 charging has happened. So 3 by 4 of ultimate charge Q naught 1 minus e to the power minus t by tau. So what we have, 1 minus e to the power minus t by tau equals to 3 by 4. So e minus t by tau comes out as 1 by 4 here. So t here directly, if I solve, t by tau would be equals to, if we reverse it, it would be 2 ln 2. So t would be 2 ln 2, tau is RC. So t would be 2 into 0.693 and r into c. R into c is 4 into 2.5. The powers will cancel up. So this is 10, this is 20 into 0.693. That is what I am getting. So that comes out as 13.86 seconds for sure. So go for 13.86. That is the today's paper. So thanks for watching. Keep sharing this channel.